When you think of early puzzle games, the first to come to mind is usually Tetris. Developed in 1985, Tetris revolutionized the puzzle game genre and has been a must-have for puzzle fans since. Today, we look at Nintendo's attempt at recreating Tetris while adding their own twist: Wario's Woods. Wario's Woods was developed for the NES and SNES in 1994. Although the NES version was released worldwide, the SNES version only came to North America. This game is well known for being the last first-party Nintendo game to be released on the NES, which also means that a lot of people missed out on it because it was so late in the NES's lifespan. Aside from being the final release on the NES, Wario's Woods was the only game on the console to receive a rating by the Entertainment Software Ratings Board, or as you may know it, the ESRB. This means that it was the first game on the NES to be suitable for literally every age group, with a rating of KA, or Kids to Adults. Because the SNES version was only released in North America, two modified versions became available in Japan in the same year. These releases were made for the Satellaview, which was a satellite modem attachment for the Super Famicom which allowed games to be broadcast to the system. The first to be released was titled Wario's Woods Bakushu version. This version featured personalities from a Japanese radio comedy show titled Bakushu Mondai. In the following year, the second version to be broadcast was Wario's Woods again, which seems like kind of a lazy attempt at a name. We know nowadays that Nintendo isn't too creative on naming things, like, hey, what do we title the new version of the 3DS? To which the reply was, well, how about the new Nintendo 3DS? And then that guy probably got a promotion. Wario's Woods Again was broadcast for 5 years and proved to be very popular. The NES version saw light again in 2001 by being a collectible item in Animal Crossing. It was also one of the first titles available on the Wii Virtual Console. Today, it's available on the Wii U and 3DS eShop. The main screen of the game actually looks quite impressive. The gameplay tiles are uniquely laid out, which separates itself from your typical game menu. As with most games we cover on this channel, the story isn't mentioned at all in this game. Instead, you have to go into the manual to read about it. Our game takes place in an area known as the Peaceful Woods, where happy spirits and creatures live, but with the help of monsters, Wario invades the woods and claims them as his own. We play as Toad, and it's up to us to survive each level until we face off with Wario to save the woods from his evil grip. And that's really all there is to it. Very simple and straight to the point. The screen is pretty similar to Tetris in terms of how everything is laid out and moves. All of your information is conveniently placed in between each player, and it gives you stats such as how the pieces can be removed from the screen, how many games out of 3 each person has won, and a bomb/monster timer. Other than that, there's not too much to talk about with this. You'll get a different background and border depending on the difficulty you're playing on in Computer Versus, and when playing in Round Game, which is the story mode, the background changes to 4 different themes: woods, desert, ice, and castle. We only have footage of the woods, because that's as far as we could make it. All of the music and sound effects are exactly what you would expect with a Mario game. However, the music during a Computer Versus match is very fast-paced and doesn't seem like it really belongs in the Mario universe. This isn't a bad thing, and it's actually quite nice to hear something a bit different than the standard Mario music. When you wait at the title screen, you're presented with a brief demo of what the game looks like. Because we always watch this kind of stuff for the sake of content, we realize that this game is going to be a little more complicated than we expected. The tutorial mode breaks down each button with an explanation, followed by 9 training courses designed to teach you everything about that one button. Once you get through all the buttons, you can then learn about creating chains, diamonds, and other useful techniques that can be used during the gameplay. The 9 training courses make you feel like you're learning a lot, but once you jump into a match, you realize that there's a lot faster of a pace than the tutorials would have you believe. Your main objective is to clear all of the creatures from your side of the field by aligning 3 of the same colors together to make them disappear. However, 3 creatures together can't disappear unless a bomb is in the link. At first, all of the creatures on the field can be eliminated by making a row horizontally, vertically, or diagonally. Once you get farther into the game though, you'll be faced with creatures that are very specific in the pattern that needs to be made in order for them to disappear. This ranges from having to be in line diagonally only, or by being blown up multiple times before permanently going away. This adds a whole new level of difficulty to the game, especially when you barely mastered the normal creatures. While playing, there will be a timer that keeps rising in the center column of the screen. This is your bomb/monster spawner. Once the match first starts, you'll have a fairy above you that will only drop bombs. This allows you to clear as much of the field as you can. When the timer reaches the top, it instantly resets, except now your fairy is a bug that drops monsters on you. Bombs will still fall periodically, but the amount of monsters becomes overbearing at times. Eliminating rows will stop your timer for a very short time, and the bigger the combo you get, the more time is stopped. When playing in the computer versus mode, eliminating a very large stack of monsters will cause the roof to start falling on your enemy. Although the versus game style is very frustrating for a beginner player, the round game option is a more gentle way to learn about the mechanics and the techniques. This game type is just you against Wario, where you have to clear the stage without the threat of another enemy, adding more chaos. However, this game style gets extremely boring very fast. After several levels, you're introduced to a few different types of creatures, but the gameplay style never changes. When we first loaded up the game, we had a lot of positive expectations. This seemed like a weird, yet interesting twist on the Tetris formula, and it looked like it was going to be fun. Reviews for this game seemed to be either one end of the spectrum or the other. GamePro stated that it ultimately fails to be more than a standard Tetris clone, while Next Generation said that, quote, "After a while you can become interested, but the learning curve is just too steep and the rewards are too slim." We would have to agree with both these statements. With most of our time being spent in tutorial mode trying to become proficient at the game, it was proven that there had to be a lot of time devoted to learning this game before you can consistently beat the computer, even on easy mode. While their take on this genre was definitely unique, it honestly feels like they tried to jam too many features in, which ultimately hurt the game in the long run. And it's because of all of this that we have to say that Wario's Woods does not hold up. Wow!